Well, hello, good evening, happy Monday. I can't believe Thanksgiving is this week. What the heck? What the heck? So, what is going on, people? 50% of the homes in this country are seeing declines in their home values. So, we're going to discuss that tonight. We're going to discuss a lot of other things. A lot of happening stuff going on in the housing market. So, let's talk about what we got lined up for this evening. So we're going to talk about how the home values are declining in 50% of the country. We're going to talk about Zillow's estimates. Zillow's estimates screwing up home buying. And that's kind of tying into the first article regarding the home values declining in our country because it's based on Zestimates. Yep. So stick with me on this one. Also, I'm going to talk about AI mortgage and real estate scams. Yep. You knew this was coming. Anybody who said AI is going to replace real estate agents, not happening, but you know what's going to happen? These scams. And we're going to talk about that tonight too. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay. All right. So I appreciate you all being here. I know it's the Monday before Thanksgiving. You're probably all busy, getting ready, got family coming, you're going to be cooking, all that fun stuff. So I appreciate you being here to talk about the important things like the housing market. All right, guys, let's get into it. So this whole thing with all these US homes that are declining in value. Let's find out what's happening. All right. So more than half of the US homes have dropped in value over the last year. Nearly all the houses in these cities have seen losses. Now, let's truth be told, data's coming from Zillow. All right. So you know where I'm going with this. Okay. The share of US homes have lost value in the past year and the highest since the aftermath of the Great Recession, according to Zillow. In October, 53% of homes saw their Zestimates decline, the most since 2012 and up from just 16% a year earlier. Losses were most widespread in the West and South. In fact, those regions have housing markets where nearly all homes declined in value over the last year. Denver topped the list with 91%, followed by Austin, 89%, Sacramento, 88%, Phoenix, 87%, and Dallas, 87%. Okay, the Northeast and Midwest, by contrast, have largely avoided such losses, but declines are spreading to more homes in all metros, Zillow said. In addition, most homes also dropped from their peak valuations, with the average drawdown hitting 9.7%. While that has soared from 3.5% in the spring of 2022, it's still well below the 27% average drawdown in early 2012. To be sure, lower home values are just losses on paper and aren't realized by homeowners unless the actual sale prices undercut the initial purchase prices. By that score, homeowners are still ahead, as Zillow data shows that values are up a median 67% since the last sale, and just 4.1% of homes have lost value on their last sale. Homeowners may feel rattled when they see their estimate drop, and it's more common in today's cooler market environment than in recent years, but relatively fewer selling at a loss. This is from Trey Manhurt, senior economic researcher at Zillow. Home values surged over the past 6 years, and the vast majority of homeowners still have significant equity. What we're seeing now is a normalization, not a crash. So for those of you praying for that crash to happen, it's, my friends, I'm sorry, it's not happening. It's just not happening. Hold on. I hate these pop-ups. They're so annoying. Okay. The lower values come as the housing market has been frozen for much of the past 3 years after rate hikes from the Federal Reserve in 22 and 23 sent borrowing costs higher, discouraging homeowners from giving up their existing ultra-low mortgage rates. But the dearth of new supply kept home prices high, shutting out many would-be home buyers who were also balking at elevated mortgage rates. With demand weak, the housing market has been shifting away from sellers and toward buyers. The pendulum has swung so far over the other way that delistings soared this year as sellers became fed up with offers coming in below asking prices just to take their homes off the market. But the National Association of Realtors sees a turnaround coming next year. NAR chief economist Lawrence Yun predicted earlier this month existing home sales will jump 14% in 2026 after 3 years of stagnation, with new home sales rising 5%. Those sales will support a 4% uptick in home prices. Next year is really the year we'll see a measurable increase in sales. Home prices nationwide are in no danger of declining. All right. So the reason I bring this up is the market cooling? Yes, it is. It definitely is. But you all have to be careful with Zillow, with the Zestimates. I've talked about this before. And when this article showed up, it was like, you know, it was published in a couple of other publications. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to dive into this a little bit. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, they're talking about Zestimates, right? We can't trust the Zestimates. Why? Because where they're getting the data from, it's not looking at everything about that house and about that market. Okay? It's missing a lot of times. It's not 100% of the time it's not looking at, has the house been updated? Is the house not updated? What is the condition? Does it need upgrades? It's not looking at the location. It's pulling data. Let me show you. Let me show, because I gotta break it down for everybody, because I have people ask me all the time what we were saying to me. The Zestimate says no. The Zillow's estimates get their data from a proprietary algorithm that pulls from public records, tax assessments, and recent home sales. The system also incorporates data from real estate listings on the MLS. User submitted information and uses AI to analyze property photos to identify features like remodels. These data points are used to estimate a home's value by considering factors like square footage, location, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and market trends. Now, look, this is where they're getting the information from. So if you're looking at your Zestimate, you're thinking about selling your house, and you're seeing your Zestimate go down, do not panic. The only way you can get a true, accurate pricing of your home, it's either by appraisal or you get a real estate agent to do a market analysis to determine the pricing of your home. Period. End of story. And that goes for buyers too. Now, for those of you who are in buyers markets and you're looking at the Zestimate and you're seeing that number going down, do not think that's what you're going to be able to offer on the home, right? The real estate agent needs to go back and look at the comps and look at what's sold to get a more accurate number. The realtors are going to know the market. They're going to know what the house across the street sold for and what condition that house was in, right? Was it modernized? Does it have newer upgrades? Does it not? Right? That's how we determine the pricing. I told this story before. One time I went on a listing appointment. The sellers were adamant that their home is worth close to like 1.4 million. And I was like, okay, why? And what'd they do? They're like, because the Zestimate, I got the Zestimate here. I'm like, okay. So I looked at this. I looked at it. I'm scrolling through it. It was pulling data from surrounding towns, not even the town the home is located in. It maybe had like one or two homes, comparables, but the rest of the data, it was coming from outside the town. Now, meanwhile, there are plenty of comps to go by in the town to do a proper pricing, which I had done, and my pricing came in way below 1.4. My pricing was like at 1.1. So, seeing this, yeah, I mean, the values are declining according to Zillow. And it's not going to be like, it's a small amount. It's not like, we're going to see a 20% reduction in these values. You know what I mean? So anyway, let me get into some of the questions. Your chat is lively again this week. So with Zillow going through so much lawsuit, do you think it's good to trust what they are saying at this time, hurting buyers and sellers? I agree with you. No, there's so many lawsuits against them right now. One of them, the most recent one, is has to do with their loans, right? They got into the mortgage business, and they're now being accused of steering their clients to use Zillow Home Loans. And also using the Zillow agents, and they were getting, I think the Zillow agents, they have to give up like 40% of their commission. I mean, something ridiculous like that. But then they were putting that back onto the buyer. So they're in a whole heap of trouble right now. I don't know how many lawsuits they've had this year, 6 or 7, something like that. It's just absolutely, it's ridiculous. And how they're going to be in business still, it's beyond me. I don't know. Karen B7766 says Zestimates are ridiculous. Showed my home value to 593. My realtor came up 550 as market value. We listed at 545. Zestimate then plummeted to 538. You see, you can't trust it. You can't, because it's pulling it. That's why, because it pulled the data off of MLS. It saw your home listed, and that's why it reduced the Zestimate. Yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say Zestimates suck. Real Joe from Queens. Housing prices are going to stagnate or drop unless the government's willing to prop up artificial demand. Even 2% mortgages won't bring buyers back. The prices in most metro areas at least 30% too high to make the math for the average buyer. I agree with you. Yeah, inventory has got to get better. I don't know where that's going to be coming from. But I wanted to share with you really quick. I did mention in the beginning, talking about how Zillow's messing with the home buying too. Because again, everybody likes to rely on that stupid Zestimate. So now look at this. All right. So this is from Business Insider. Now, this is from a year ago, but I thought it was relevant for what we're talking about tonight. Our Zestimate obsession. Zillow's price estimates are screwing up home buying, but Americans love them. When Zillow debuted in 2006, the fledgling site bore little resemblance to the real estate behemoth it is now. There were no options to find an agent, get a mortgage, or request a tour. The search portal couldn't even tell you which homes were actually for sale. There was, however, the Zestimate, a free, unbiased valuation for 40 million houses around the U.S. based on a proprietary algorithm. Half the single-family homes in America suddenly had a dollar figure attached to them. Anyone could take a peek. Zillow's site crashed within hours as millions raced to oogle at the results. Nowadays, the Zestimate is arguably the most popular and polarizing number in real estate. An entire generation of homeowners doesn't know life without the algorithm. Some obsessively track its output as they would a stock portfolio or the price of Bitcoin. By the time a seller hires a real estate agent, there's a good chance they've already consulted a digital oracle. For anyone with even a passing interest in the housing market, the Zestimate is a breezy way to take the temperature. Keep tabs on mortgage rates all you want, but they can't tell you that your house has appreciated 20% over the past year or that your annoying coworker's property is worth more than yours. Many industry insiders, however, regard the number as a starting point at best and dangerously misguided at worst. Real estate agents recount arguments with sellers who reject their pricing advice, choosing instead to take the Zestimate as the word of God. One meme likens its disciples to adults who believe in Santa. Zillow itself lost hundreds of millions of dollars during the pandemic when it relied on its algorithm to buy homes on what turned out to be inflated prices, part of an ill-fated attempt to flip homes at scale. The Zestimate is just one of a slew of automated valuation models that are increasingly used by banks, investors, and lay people to estimate the value of homes. No other model, however, has wormed its way into our culture like the Zestimate. The model, like other consumer-facing AVMs, is prone to errors that render it more of an amusement than a serious pricing tool. But while the algorithm's price guessing skills may be suspect, it's undeniably elite at one thing: luring people to Zillow.com. So all right, let me go. Hold on one second. Where did I want to go to? Hold on. Okay, just how accurate are those numbers though? Until the house actually trades hands, it's impossible to say. Zillow's own explanation of the methodology and its outcomes can be misleading. The model, the company says, is based on thousands of data points from public sources like county records, tax documents, and multiple listing services. Local databases used by real estate agents where most homes are advertised for sale. Zillow's formula also incorporates user-submitted info. If you get a fancy new kitchen, for example, your Zestimate might see a nice bump if you let the company know. Zillow makes sure to note that the Zestimate can't replace an actual appraisal, but articles on its website also hail the tool as a powerful starting point in determining a home's value, and generally quite accurate. The median error rate for an on-market home is just 2.4% per the company's website, while the median error rate for off-market homes is 7.49. Not bad, you might think. But that's where things get sticky. By definition, half of homes sell within the median error rate, within 2.4% of the Zestimate in either direction for on-market homes. But the other half don't. And Zillow doesn't offer many details on how bad those misses are. And while the Zestimate is appealing because it attempts to measure what a house is worth, even when it's not for sale, it becomes much more accurate when a house actually hits the market. That's because it's leaning on actual humans, not computers, to do a lot of the grunt work. When somebody lists their house for sale, the Zestimate will adjust to include all the new seller-provided info, new photos, details on recent renovations, and most importantly, the list price. The Zestimate keeps adjusting until the house actually sells. At that point, the difference between the sale price and the latest estimate is used to calculate on-market error rate, which again is pretty good. In Austin, for instance, a little more than 94% of on-market homes end up selling within 10% of the last estimate before the deal goes through. But Zillow keeps a second Zestimate humming in the background, one that never sees the light of day. This version doesn't factor in the list price. It's carrying on as if the house never went up for sale at all. Instead, it's used to calculate the off-market error rate. When the house sells, the difference between the final price and this shadow algorithm reveals an error rate that's much less satisfactory. In Austin, only 66% of these off-market estimates came within 10% of the actual sale price. In Atlanta, is 65%, Chicago 58%, Nashville 63%, Seattle 69%. So this is a lot. I know there's a lot to take in right now, but this tells you it's a bunch of crap. I'm sorry to say, but that's what it is. You just cannot trust that number, whether you're selling your house or whether you're buying a home. Just do not. Speak with your real estate agent, please. All right. What else do we got? Hey, we got a super chat. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. John, under contract, no termites, clean water, septic works. Can't time the market, 1.8 acres, private road, 1870 colonial with additions, closing in January. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing the win. I forgot to say that at the beginning. Please share your housing wins. I'm so sorry. I'm all discombobulated. I had a little technical error before I came online tonight. Yeah, I won't get into that. It's called a Zestimate, not an estimate. Yes, Richard, that is correct. That's why we don't rely on it. Thank you for the wonderful videos. Great contact. How does the Boston area forecast to be a seller's market? The last I heard, it's still pretty strong up there. Anywhere up here in the Northeast, it's still a pretty strong seller's market. I think it's similar to what I'm dealing with and what we're all dealing with in North Jersey here and all in New Jersey. You know, if the house is priced well, you're getting multiple offers, but it depends as far as your location, condition of the house, how many offers you're getting. Little story. Last week, my partner, she made an offer on a home in northern Bergen County. And I hate to say it, and I'm not getting political, I don't want to get into it, but I think we're starting to see the Mamdani effect in Bergen County. This house was listed over $1 million, 9 offers. It went way, I'm talking almost 200,000 over asking. Like we're going back to those days of the pandemic, which I am not excited about at all. But as long as there's minimal inventory or lower inventory, you're still going to see this. So Massachusetts for sure, you're going to have that. I mean, again, maybe not as crazy going over ask. If Boston Cheryl's in the house, maybe she would know. She usually comes on the chat here. I'm confused. Is it a good time to buy now with what's going on with real estate? So I tell everybody, whoever this question comes up every week, you can't time the market. You cannot. You gotta if it's time for you to buy a house, if everything's aligned, you have all your financial ducks in a row, you have your pre-approved, you have your closing costs saved, your down payment saved, you have an emergency fund saved. I always say this to everybody, you gotta have your emergency fund set up before you buy that house. You need money in the bank after you close. It's very important. So yeah, that's if it's is it a good time? I can't tell you that. It's got to be the right time for you. So, sorry, hope that helps. Home values were artificially high. If people want home prices to fall, uh, get the investment houses out of the single family residence rental business and limit private investors to 3 or less homes. Yes, but get the corporate investors. It's not so much a private, like the smaller private investors. It's these big corporations, these billion-dollar corporations that are buying these houses and renting them out. And I talk about all the time. Clark, who's a realtor down in Atlanta, he's been experiencing that down in Atlanta for the past few years. Companies have been buying up a ton of homes in Atlanta and the Sun Belt only to rent them out. I think they need to pass some type of legislation to ban them from buying up these homes. It needs to go to families. It needs to go to the American people first. So, hello, Boston, Cheryl. There she is. How are you? Boston's still strong because very little new construction within commuting distance. So supply is limited. Owners with low mortgage rates not moving. Estimates in my house were too high. Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing. Okay, so basically, and thank you for the super chat. Very nice of you, Cheryl. It's good to see you. I love when you're here. I love when all of you are here. So what else we got? I did see something about so many realtors are just quitting. Is it because of the economy or just tired of all the changes? That is an excellent question. So I think it's a culmination of things. I think there's a lot of realtors that came into the business in 2020 because they saw how hot the market was and they figured, oh, this is a great way to make a lot of money. And then they realized how hard it is. When the market started to turn, you got to put the work in to get some clients. So that's why a lot of agents are leaving the business now. And, the economy a little bit. They're probably, they have to go and get regular jobs. I've been in this for 10 years. So we've seen downturns. I've seen downturns. I mean, and this too shall pass. But if you don't have, a lot of people just don't have the patience, the wherewithal to stick it out and to do the things they need to do to keep their real estate business going. I mean, they're not successful. They're not going to survive. So any realtors in the chat, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on that one. We gotta win. Under contract to close late December. Disclosure: after contract home has recalled LP siding inspection that is in great condition. Deal breaker: $80,000 to replace $730K home. Thank you. Disclosure. So they recalled that. What is LP siding? Is that I'm sorry, I don't know what LP siding is, but if it's in great condition, I would try to negotiate that if you can. I mean, if it's documented that there's a recall on that siding, try to get some try to get a concession. I don't know if you get the full 80,000, but try to negotiate something if you can. I mean, if it's in good condition, would it be a deal breaker? I don't know, but I would go back to the seller and see if you can get something. Lead paint. Thank you. Thank you. Lead paint siding. Yeah, I would negotiate it. I would definitely negotiate that if that was me. Sarah, thanks for being here. I got my pre-approval letter last week, so I can start looking seriously now. I went with one of those deferred down payment assistance programs. Good for you, Sarah. Good luck. I'm sure you will find something. Have patience. Just have patience. Here's my friend, Clark. How are you, Clark? Real estate is not as easy as people think. You have to really work hard to maintain a career in real estate. Yes, you do. And So right now, it's a really slow time for real estate agents, right? We're into the holiday season. Things aren't going to pick back up again until like January, late January. So now what am I doing? What are all my fellow real estate agents, my teammates are doing? We're all like we're doubling down. We're gearing up for 26. We're reaching out to, all of our past clients, working on our marketing. I have 3, potentially 4 listings coming on the market in January and February next year. It's a grind, right, Clark? It is an absolute grind to be in this business. And, I hate to say all those people that came in 2020, a lot of them just weren't cut out for it. And listen, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, it's not easy. It's not easy. Louisiana Pacific composite susceptible to swelling. How large of a concession is reasonable? 1989 home, original siding, not lead paint. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Louisiana. Bob, did you bring somebody out there to evaluate it, like a siding expert, somebody who does that for a living, that puts siding on homes? See if you can just get an opinion on what they think about it, and if it's something that you're gonna have to deal with. I would definitely, I would get that work on a concession. Get it. I know it says up to 80,000, but did you get that quote? If you didn't get a quote from a person, like a siding person, get a quote. Get it. I always tell my clients, gets an estimate in writing to go back and negotiate the credit. Thank you so much, Terry Nee, for the super chat. Harrisburg, PA, third best city on the rise. Thank you for sharing. I did not know that. That's good to know. Okay, siding expert, currently good condition, but future risk is not, if not well maintained, will have to be disclosed to future buyer too. Okay, so if it's in good condition, maybe I would go back, talk to your real estate agent, talk to your realtor, and see what they think. They got to kind of feel, they have to feel the sellers out too, see what they're willing to do. But maybe it may be going for half. I don't know. But as long as you have the estimate in writing, you have something to work off of. Joe Jones, what's going on? A few years ago, my friends listed their house for more than his estimate. They got more than his estimate and more than they even expected. Well, they were lucky. Good for them. Good for them. Stacy, thank you so much for the super chat. It was so generous. What do you think of realtors using AI photos to show what a house could look like with some work? Buyers may get excited not knowing how much the remodel cost would be. I think it's a trick. Stacy, thank you for bringing this up. Excellent point. Yes, look, when we put, if a home is vacant and we put homes up on the multiple listing service, we're allowed to do virtual pictures, right? Virtual staging, right? This has become very common in the last few years, but it has to state on the picture itself, virtually staged, okay? Showing you how the room would look staged. And then when people, it's so funny when people go look at the house, they're like, wait a minute, there's furniture on the pictures. I'm like, no, it was virtual. So for this, showing like what a house could look like when it's been renovated, like putting addition on and stuff like that. I mean, it's giving people a vision, but yeah, it's not, they get excited not knowing how much remodel will cost. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But if I was their realtor and they were all excited about it, like, oh my God, look, we could do this. We can convert this space and make it into this, or we can put this addition on. That's great. Bring in a contractor. It's the agent's job to educate their clients and say, you should bring in a contractor to find out exactly what that's going to cost. You don't walk in and make an offer blindly and like, I'll deal with it later. We're going to make these changes. And then only to come to find out, you got to dump $200,000 into those renovations. So, it's a good point, Stacy. Thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat. What would be a good emergency fund to have after a home purchase? 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Okay. So I know it's kind of hard to estimate when you're buying a home, but you can always just do like a gauge. of or even just if you can do like if you can put away like 3 months of your sal to like take home or almost close to what you take home, just to have that little cushion. Um, what else? This also happens when they put on the MLS to be built, even though they show the mock-ups, and when people go to the site, they see no house, just land. And Clark, does that like blow your mind when people are like, why? What? There was a house. What? Where is it? Do we not pay attention? Anyway, you're welcome, Bob. You're welcome. I hope that helps. But please go consult with your agent. Please. I don't want to take the place of your agent. That's not why I'm here. Okay. I want to say, speaking of AI, Stacy, thank you for that little segue. We're going to talk about the latest scam that's going on. As I mentioned in the beginning. You ready for this one, guys? Hold on to your hats. AI real estate mortgage scams proliferate. Look at this. They've discovered a new frontier for fraud. Musicians, authors, and artists have complained about, and some have filed lawsuits against artificial intelligence companies that use their creations to train their AI systems. In the real estate world, criminals are using images and videos of actual real estate agents and other housing professionals to train AI models to learn their looks, expressions, sounds, and movements. Then, armed with this deep fake model, they impersonate those professionals. Can you believe this? AI tools make it easier to quickly fabricate correspondence, identification, deeds, mortgages, video, and voices, which can be indistinguishable from a real document or person, said Sarah Frano, vice president and real estate fraud expert at First American Title. Given the intrinsic value of real estate property transactions and mortgages are attractive targets for scammers. Kara Carlin, director of communications for Better Business Bureau in Arkansas, says threats to real estate include AI generated listings, AI and spider seller personas, generated conversations, and that could be with the property owner or even voice impersonations. Carlin said there are not a lot of red flags, but people can be on the watch for things that scammers do, such as high-pressured sales, rush transactions, a reluctance from the owner or the agent to meet in person. There are multiple types of AI scams that home buyer or sellers should know about. The New York Department of State recently warned home buyers about the use of AI to make photos and videos of properties for sale look better than they actually are. Okay, this is what Stacy's talking about. For its part, the National Association of Realtors is trying to guide the adoption of AI tools to assist real estate agents, but it also has rules about not misrepresenting a property. Matthew Troani, Director of Legal Affairs at NAR, notes that the association's ethics code prohibits realtors from exaggerating, concealing, or misrepresenting pertinent facts about a property or transaction. It's not hard to find examples of agents accused of going too far. But for the most part, when flipping through pictures online showing a property that has been digitally enhanced, there's a visible note on the image that it was digitally staged or virtually staged. That's what we have on New Jersey MLS. And the best of them will show both the digitally staged and the unstaged photos, thereby giving the potential buyer a clear image of the property's actual state, as well as ideas about how it can be zhuzhed up. That's exactly what we have on New Jersey MLS. All the MLSs here in our state. Rental apartments are not immune. The National Multifamily Housing Council survey of apartment owners, developers, and managers found that they were already struggling with fraud. 93.3% of them reported having experienced fraud in the previous 12 months. AI is going to make that even worse as it becomes easier for bad players to create convincing fake pay stubs, ID documents, employment confirmation, and other applicant information. The more dangerous type of AI scam is impersonating an agent, mortgage official, a buyer, or seller as part of an attempt to defraud someone of large amounts of money. It's nerve-wracking enough to have your bank initiate a wire transfer to the title company for $500,000 and wait till you get confirmation from the title company. It's worse not knowing if the confirmation itself is coming from an AI-generated fraudster to whom you've just sent $500,000. According to First American Titles, Frano, common targets for scams are properties that are not owner occupied, such as a second home, rental unit, or vacant lot, because the owner is less likely to uncover the scam. Conversely, while owner occupied properties are less susceptible to seller impersonation fraud, they may be a greater risk of scammers taking out fraudulent loans and stripping the property's equity. Scammers are after money, not properties. So high equity and mortgage-free properties are attractive targets. So this is the latest scam, my friends. We have to be really careful about this. Anyone who's saying, "Oh, AI is going to replace real estate agents," you guys, we don't want this. We don't want this. First of all, that's never going to happen. People are always going to want to work with the realtor, and especially if this AI stuff continues with this scam, forget it. Forget about it. So please be careful. If you own a second property, vacation home, just be aware. MH, what's up? I posted AI generated pictures of myself on Tinder. Of course, I used a caption. This is what I'd look like with some work. I like that. I like that little disclaimer there. That's awesome. Hey, Joe, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys are amazing. You're so amazing. So appreciate it. Just like it really helps support the channel when you guys do that. Jen, I think there he is. Joe had a question. What do you think affects price more? Area, age, like a flood area, old property. What affects the price more? I believe the area, location. Especially if it's in a flood zone. Absolutely, I think that impacts the price more. All about the goal comes down to location in real estate, right? Just bring your date the augmented reality goggles. You guys are so funny. You are so funny. All right, just bought a new home. Oh, another win. Just bought a new home south of Phoenix, 214K, 3-bedroom, 2 baths, similar home, same neighborhood, but older, on the market for 300K. I call that a big win. Congratulations. That is a big win. Very excited for you. Blockchain could help defeat real estate fraud. I really don't know anything about blockchain. I'm not really smart with that stuff. Sorry. AI tried selling me the Taj Mahal. I said no. Okay, good. I'm glad you said no. But you know what? I think I've mentioned before, there was a period, and I think it's still going on, not as much now, but a couple of years ago, us real estate agents, and it happened to me, I got an email from this random person saying they gave me the address. They said, I'm in London. This is my property, 123 Main Street, blah, 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 whatever, New Jersey. I need to sell my house now. Please send me the listing paperwork. I need you to take care of this for me. I mean, it was obvious. Like, come on, dude. Really? You think I'm going to do this transaction with you via email? And then when I looked it up on the tax records, obviously it was the person's name, what they were using that person's name. But I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to, I just deleted it. I deleted the email. I'm like, this isn't cool. For some reason, I'm on a corporate buyer call list, and I tell them I'm not into and take me off their list, Silverton, Oregon. Are you serious? You have corporations calling you to sell your house? Oh, that's not good. I do not like that. Yes, please hit the like, everybody. I got 202 people on here right now. Please hit the like. Appreciate it. Is the market in Connecticut still crazy too? From what I've last heard, yes, it is. And it's going to get crazier when you got people leaving New York City. Sorry, I said it. Who do you think generally gives the best deals on house insurance? I really don't know. But you know what you should do? I would talk to an insurance broker to have them search the best price for you. That's what I would do. If a realty suggests a lender, just trust that lender, or should we shop around with a few lenders to get the best deal? Rebecca, shop around. Now, we'll make recommendations. I have like 3 or 4 lenders that I've done business with, and I'll only refer lenders that my previous clients not only worked with, but were happy with them. If they weren't happy with them, I'm not passing that name along. So take those recommendations and make sure that they've had previous clients that use those lenders, but definitely talk. I don't care how many, talk to 10, talk to 20 lenders and find out who's got the best rate. I had a client back in the summer. He talked to, I think, 6. He talked to 6 lenders. I recommended, I think, 2 to him, and he ended up finding somebody on his own, but he talked to 6 different lenders to get the best rate. So, Cackleberry Cottage, what's going on? Do you think, what do you think of FHA home equity conversion mortgage for us older folks? I'm so sorry. I've not heard of that. Can I look this up right now? Because now I'm an inquiring mind and I need to know. All right. FHA home. When was this? And is this something that I need to like conversion mortgage? Learn something new. Okay, only reverse mortgage program. Okay, it's reverse mortgage insured by the Federal Housing Administration. Unlike where the debt decreases over time, loan balance grows with the accrued interest and fees while the homeowner receives the funds. Listen, we talked about this last week about reverse mortgages. They can be a good thing, but you have to be careful because if you're in a market where the values are like going down, all right, it's a declining market, and once you're gone, who's ever going to be, your POA, who's going to be your trustee, who's ever managing your estate, who's the next of kin, they're going to be responsible for that reverse mortgage. Okay, if money's owed on it. So that's the only thing I would just just look into that. Real estate agent told us about it. Just do your research on it. Talk to like financial, if you have a financial planner, talk to them. Talk to a lawyer too about it, just to see what happens once, God forbid you are no longer here, what's going to go on. I relocated for a job and I'm paying rent and a mortgage home. A home is on sale in Maryland. If it doesn't sell in 60 days, should I rent? It's getting a lot of traffic, but no bites. If you're getting a lot of traffic and no bites, you have to reduce your price. Reduce your price. Because I'll tell you right now, if you're holding out for your number and you haven't gotten the offers yet, your price is too high. If it was me, I would reduce the price, offload the house. Because if you go to rent it out, speaking from personal experience, being a landlord, and if you're relocated out of state, being a landlord out of state is very challenging. I don't recommend it. That's just me. Some people can handle it, but if you're going to rent it for, say, the next year, now you're going to put it back on the market. I guarantee you're going to have to go back in and paint. You're going to need to repaint the house. Again, this is what happened to me. Not that the people trashed my house, but normal wear and tear. There's scuff marks on the wall, little scratches. The floor had scratches. You're going to have some damage, and you're going to have to spend the money to make it look pretty again to just put it back on the market. I would reduce the price now, offload it. There, I said it. I hope that helps. But talk to your real estate agent about repositioning that price, because if you've gotten no bites in 60 days, that's the problem. And I'm sticking with my story. Okay. Okay, I wanted to share with you another article I came across about our friend Dave Ramsey. I don't know if anybody here follows Dave Ramsey. So I came across this gem today. And I have nothing against Dave Ramsey. I think he's a great guy. He's got a good, he's got good advice. But he's sending a strong message on buying and selling homes. And these stupid pop-ups are really getting on my nerves. Okay. Recent reports suggest that mortgage rates may be stabilizing, at least in the short term. However, conventional wisdom also contends that buying and selling of homes is expected to experience a relatively slow period during the winter months. But personal finance best-selling author and radio host Dave Ramsey believes the upcoming season presents opportunities in the housing market that potential home buyers and sellers can leverage to their advantage. So go away. Okay. So now that's if you handle this smartly. So coming into the winter months, and I've said this, Dave Ramsey suggests a secret for sellers during the winter. As temperatures decline, housing activity continues to ease. With fewer buyers entering the market, competition diminishes and prices soften. On average, homes are now roughly 5% cheaper than they were in June. Although there are fewer buyers in the market, these are serious buyers actively seeking to purchase a property and are usually ready and able to commit when they find the right property. Less competition can lead to better deals. While homes are not selling as fast as during the summer, sellers may be more willing to negotiate. Ramsey offered some thoughts on the winter housing market. Over 11,000 homes are sold per day on average from December to February. That's a lot of houses. In other words, the number of homes bought and sold during the winter is nothing to sneeze at. In fact, there are actually some pretty cool advantages to navigating the housing market while Jack Frost is nipping at your nose. Ramsey explained this view that during the winter months, effective staging of a home, one is trying expect I'm so sorry. Effective staging of a home one is trying to sell can be the secret to increasing selling price up to 13%. So these are his effective winter staging of a home. Holiday decorations to complement a room rather than dominate it. A warm atmosphere can be created by lighting the fireplace, playing soft holiday music, offering baked goods or mulled cider. I don't like that. I don't know. That's a little much. And you know what happens? Buyers will walk in and be like, are they trying to cover something up? That I get that a lot. They want to if there's like an odor or something in the house and people are baking cookies, red flag. They think they're hiding they're trying to hide something. Because winter evenings get dark quickly, outdoor spotlights help keep the home's exterior bright and inviting. Seasonal inflatables or heavy outdoor decor should be removed promptly, as lingering displays could signal to buyers that the home is not selling. Listing photos should avoid heavy snow coverage, since buyers want to see the property's details rather than a blanket of snow. This is something I just did recently. I just mentioned I have 3, potentially 4 listings coming on the market. I take my photos of the exterior of the home now before the snow falls, because exactly what he says here. Because buyers want to see the home in they want to see the yard, they want to see the trees, all the things. They don't want to see the snow on the ground. Professional high quality photos are crucial because most buyers research online, and more than 80% of buyers aged 25 to 68 consider photos very useful. Adding a virtual tour can boost interest. The better a home is presented, the greater likelihood it will sell quickly and at a higher price. Okay, so he explains the advantages of winter home selling. There are fewer home sellers in which to compete against. Totally agree with this. I've told the clients who I'm going to be listing their homes, I said, let's get it on the market by mid-January. Why? I want to get ahead of the spring market. Why? Less competition. Because people have this thought in their head, we got to go in, we got to put it on in the spring. I want to have all my flowers blooming. I want the yard to look nice. You and every other person that wants to put their house on the market. And you know what? You're going to be fighting for those buyers then. You're going to have too much competition and you're not going to get your price. There, I said it. Winter can be an unexpectedly strong season for home sales, according to Ramsey. Buyers who brave cold weather on holiday schedules are motivated by deadlines such as expiring leases, relocations, or year-end tax considerations. Real estate agents also tend to be more attentive during this period, since fewer listings allow them to devote extra time to showings, staging, and negotiations. I don't agree with that. Don't agree with that, Dave Ramsey, but whatever. In addition, holiday downtime gives many people the chance to browse listings, schedule viewings, and make the season a practical window for sellers. So for buying, wait to buy a home until you're free of consumer debt, such as credit card loans. This is his thing. He wants everybody to have, you want to be free of your debt. Build an emergency fund, covers 3 to 6 months of typical expenses before proceeding with the purchase. Prioritize paying off debt, saving the emergency fund ahead of home ownership goals. I could not agree with that more. So, and the reason I say this is because I lived it. I lived that. We bought our first house. We barely had enough money in the bank when we closed. And yeah, it was tough. That was tough. I mean, we came out of it, but You do not want to be walking in with just, very little money in your bank because something's going to break once you close on your house. Just saying, Murphy's Law. Plan for a strong down payment since a larger amount reduces monthly payment and overall debt. Aim for 20% down payment. A 5 to 10% down payment can be acceptable for first-time buyers. Keep housing payments at or below 25% of monthly take-home pay, even if prices dip in winter. Calculate what you can afford and stick to that budget to avoid financial strain. So these are some great tips, but selling your house, buying a house in the winter, and I tell this to people too, my buyers who I'm working with, buying in the winter, you could potentially score a deal. You could. And selling your home again, you can have the series buy. This first thing I learned when I got into the business, my very first manager told me this. He said, you can sell a house any time of the year. It's not always about the spring market because serious, especially in the winter, serious buyers are out there. If someone had the fireplace on and cookies, I'd hope they have the game on too, so I could bring my buddies over. That would be a good little tactic, right? If you're listening now, you've already missed a potential military reassignment starting at the beginning of the new year. Well, if you're living in a military community, I understand that. Yep. We sold our last house in the winter, listed around Thanksgiving, sold early January in a down market. You see, it happens. It happens. I closed on my house on November 12th, got lucky with this one, even though we're not the highest offer. Oh my God, good for you. Congratulations. Congrats. I love that. Boomers should start selling their houses, moving to Florida. I know. They're not. What should I read or watch as a first timer looking to buy after my lease ends in 18 months? Is it too soon? No. You know what? You can continue watching the videos here that I have on my channel. There's a lot of good resources here on YouTube. Not that I don't want to be pushing my channel here, but I do have a lot of my content is geared towards buyers. So check out my videos. You can check out plenty of other channels. Jeb Smith also talks a lot about first-time home buyers. Shahida Hill. Shahida's got an excellent channel all about first-time home buyers. I would definitely look at that. Yes, Cheryl, being an out-of-state landlord is no fun. And that's if you can get the tenant to leave when you want. Otherwise, hello, lengthy eviction process, lost rental income, legal fees. Thank you, Cheryl. You're so right. It's not, if you're renting out your own house, if you're thinking about renting out your own house, it's not worth the risk. Sell it, offload it, cut that price, get it, just be done with it. I'm sorry to say that. What do you think on Mortgage Streamline? What's Mortgage Streamline? Is this something else I need to research? You guys are just coming in with all the good stuff. What is that? Oh, it's a simplified refinance process for existing government-backed loans. Look at that. Lower payments. Okay, so it's on Rocket. How does an FHA streamline refinance makes it easier and cheaper for borrow? Here, hold on. Please hold. Thank you for bringing this up. This is a good thing to share. Here we go. So if you have an FHA loan, this is how you streamline refinance makes it easier and cheaper for borrowers with FHA loans to refinance. There are two FHA streamline options, non-credit qualifying and credit qualifying. The former requires no credit check. To be eligible for an FHA streamline refinance, the borrower must receive a net tangible benefit like a lower interest rate or a fixed rate as opposed to an adjustable rate. All right. I think this is pretty good. I mean, I don't know a lot about it in detail, but what I would do, I would go talk to a lender about it that knows more, that can speak to this. I think that's a great idea, especially if you have an FHA. Why not? 20% of residential homes in California are owned by someone who has 2 to 5 homes. I'm also hoping the boomers sell at least one of their homes at a time. Yeah. See, this is a problem. We need to get these corporations out. We have to stop them. If that's one thing, somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, if there's one legislation I'd like to see happen is that we have to stop this. We have to stop these corporations from coming in and scapping up these homes. Y I don't like the government getting involved, but you know what? This is one thing they need to get involved with. This crap's gotta stop. So, I found a bargain house next to Chernobyl. I'm sure you did. How much was it? Was it free? Out of all the businesses to have, landlord would be the last on my list. Out of state, no way. Yeah, it does work. I'm not saying it doesn't work at all. It does work. Like I said, I did it. Knock on wood, I had decent tenants, but you know, when things go awry, like I had my place ended up having some heating issues. Um, I had to, getting the plumber on the phone to get him over there to get to fix the problem. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then, like Cheryl said before, God forbid you end up with a tenant that doesn't want to leave. Then you have to go through an eviction process and you're out of state. You're losing income. And I'm not knocking being an investor and owning rental property, not knocking it. I'm just telling you the reality of it and what could happen. Hence the name, Your Dose of Real Estate Reality. So anyway, someday defect. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you and your family as well. You two family have a wonderful holiday. You as well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Looking forward to Thursday. I'm not going to lie. Saw a home for sale recently. The seller's agent stated no VA or FHA. Is that legal? Okay. Kat, excellent question. So the reason why they may have said that is because there could have been the house was probably in really poor condition. And when you have a VA or FHA loan, when they do the appraisal, if there are major things wrong that they find in the appraisal that needs to be repaired in order for that buyer to get approved for the loan, it's not going to pay. The seller is not going to agree to making any changes to accommodate somebody getting a VA and FHA loan. And it is legal. I mean, if, or even like, here's another example. If it's an estate, okay. If the owner's deceased and, the children are part of the estate and they're selling the home, they don't have the funds. They don't have the funds to make the necessary repairs. And the other thing is that they never lived in the house. They don't know the true condition of the home. They're not going to want to deal with that. So that's probably why the house is in probably that bad a condition that it would not get approved, a VA or an FHA loan. Oh my God, Nathaniel. Holy cow. That was so generous of you. Oh my God. You're like the highest super chat I've ever gotten. Thank you oh my God. Thank you so much. Fired my realtor 2 years, switched realtors, and just closed on our forever home in North Jersey. 4 beds, 3 beds, in-ground pool, half acre. I'd like to give you this gift to keep helping people. Nathaniel, oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this. I'm so glad that you got the right agent. You got that 20% agent to help you achieve your goal to get that house. This is the purpose of the channel. And forget about that $99. Like, you telling me this is just amazing. And that makes me so happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my God, I can't thank you enough. Like, I'm going to cry. That was so generous. Thank you. Wow. All right. Say hi to Scoobs. Huge fan of yours. Anyway, multiple price drops, no showings. Home shows beautifully. Agent wants to do a broker open. No idea if that's worth the time. This is what I will tell you. If you've recently done a price drop, that would be a good time to do an open house. And that'll be the only time I would recommend doing a multiple, a second or a third open house is if you've done a price drop. Why? Because now you're bringing in a whole new pool of buyers at your new price. Okay. I would do it. You never know. But then after that, I don't like doing multiple open houses unless you're doing a price reduction. Multiple price drops, no show. Okay. You know what? Have your agent just pull the comps. to see what's currently active and what's under contract right now. Just make sure that your pricing's in line. You really helped me out a lot. I'm so glad, Nathaniel. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're worth every penny. I've learned so much from you. Thank you. You guys are. Stop it. Guys are so nice. You really are. I'm a veteran. Never purchased a home. We're on Social Security. Is it recommendable to purchase a home at this time in our lives? Yeah, you can absolutely do it. I would talk to a lender, a mortgage lender. I mean, you can definitely do it. Just gotta speak to the right lender, make sure it's doable. In situations when a bidding war start, how reliable is the word of the seller agent when they come back to you saying someone's a bit higher and ask if you're willing to offer more? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. How am I going to answer this? Well, look, it comes down to, and I hate saying this, but this is the way it's been when we've had these bidding wars. It comes down to how bad you want the house. What is your limit? Don't feel pressured to go above that limit. All right. But if you're going to lose the house, say over $5,000, you got to think to yourself, is it really worth the $5,000? Because spread that $5,000 over 30-year mortgage. That's, it's nothing. I know. I mean, you have to just rely on them. You do. You have to trust what they're saying. But it comes down to how bad do you want it and what's your limit. That's it. We have to include an FHA or VA addendum to the contract. Yes, you do. Yep. You have to the addendum to the contract if it's that type of loan. Yes, we do. Thank you. We're planning on paying cash for our next home because we have a bunch of equity in the home we are selling. If we go over budget, it'll be my fault. Can we get a small loan for over budget? Absolutely, Chris. You can. Yep. 1,000,000% you can do that. Oh, I see this one. Why are bids so secretive? It's hard to bid when you don't know what the competition is offering. I know. And you want to hear something funny? So I just mentioned before about my partner. She won a bidding war for her clients, right? This house, it was over $1 million, it had a ton of offers on it. They were actually doing escalation clauses. Now, here in Jersey, I have never seen an escalation clause. I've tried to do it before over the past several years, and the sellers didn't want it because their attorneys would always advise against it. Well, PS, my partner ended up doing an escalation clause because 2 of the offers had escalation clauses. I like them. I think escalation clauses are great because you're saying you're willing to go a certain amount over the highest bid, but up to a maximum number. This is how they do it in a lot of states. Like when I bought my property in Delaware, we were in a bidding war on our condo. That's exactly what they did. We did escalation clause. But here it's like I hate it. I hate because you're trying to get a gauge of like, all right, are we close? And the agent can't say anything unless the seller can say, you know what, go ahead, tell them what we got. The seller may say, hey, you know what, I like this buyer's terms, but if they could come up to this other person's price, I'll sell it to them. And they can do that. It comes down to the seller, what they want. So, but I get you. Final and best offer to them. If they want to sell, they will know how serious you are. That's my thoughts. Yeah, that is true. In my situation, I did my best and final. I'm pretty sure we could have gone 580, but I went to 590 because I love the house so much. That's right, John. But I would have lost if I would have lost a house over $5,000, I would have died with regret. You see what I mean? But think about $10,000 over 30 years. What is that going to cost you a month? And listen, I'm not trying to do like a hard sale tactic. That's not what I'm about. But if you want it that bad enough, what is it? Not even $100 a month, on top of that, over to, 10,000. I can understand why people will get upset with themselves. Like it's not a lot. We bid on a house in Texas that was a VA repo. We ended our bid with the number 7 and won that bid by $7. Get out. That's oh my gosh. That's good. That's a good one. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Jackie. We have something to look forward to on Monday nights. Oh, you're so kind. And so do I. I look forward to it as well. They do escalation clauses down here in Georgia. Clark, thank God you guys do that. Not a thing up here. In New Jersey, you do the highest and best. Drives me nuts. I prefer an escalation clause. Thank you. I hope, given the experience that my partner just had, I really hope that they are going to start to come back. And the attorneys up here can build a bridge and get over themselves and allow us to do these escalation clauses because it just seems to be more fair for the buyer. We tried an escalation clause up to 600 with 1,000 over. They came back and said no escalation clause. It's a wicked game. I know. I thought an escalation clause is when the cost of materials rise, the seller can raise the price after already being under contract. No, the escalation clause is you bid on a house and you're saying, I'm offering, say, $550, and I'm willing to go $1,000 over the highest bidder up to a maximum of, say, whatever, 570 or something like that. I'm just like throwing out numbers, but that's what the escalation clauses mean when you're bidding on a home. Melody, oh God, Melody Wright. I haven't even, honestly, I didn't even follow, like, I don't really follow her that much. You know what? Maybe I'll look into her for the for next Monday's live stream. Because she says some pretty crazy things. Happy Thanksgiving, Kat. Thank you so much. We just lost a house this past Saturday because we asked for an inspection. The winner didn't. Omaha, Nebraska, still multiple offers. Yes. My good friend David Matney's out there in Omaha. And he says he's been crazy busy. Rhode Island isn't like escalation clauses. That's good to know. Very interesting. Yeah, I don't understand it. There he is. Hello, my friend David. Where have you been? Hope you are doing well. So yeah, I would love to see more escalation clauses. If we're going to be having these bidding wars, my God, let the buyers have that opportunity. It's just this whole like guessing game. And when I'm in a bidding war for my clients, I'm not saying this to brag or say I'm all that in a bag of chips, but I do my best to get a gauge from the listing agent. And I ask a lot of questions. And I don't always ask, I'll say, where are we on the offers? Where are you? How many do you have? Are they way over asking price? Are we looking at, or they'll say, I have a really strong offer, or they'll say, I have a strong offer. A strong offer tells me they're at asking price. Really strong, they're above asking price. Sometimes the agents will be like, I got an offer that I can't believe I got this offer. So that tells me like, we're like, probably 6 figures over. Okay. I kind of get the idea now by the words that the agent's saying. But the key thing is we got to ask the agents about the terms. What is it that the seller is looking for? What is important to that seller as far as a closing date, as far as inspections? Are they looking for the buyers to waive the appraisal? These are important questions to be asking because sometimes it's not always the price, it's the terms that could win the bid. So your agent needs to be asking all the right questions. We gotta win. You referred me to an agent in California. I closed my first home today. This is where I'm going to retire and plant a garden and can't wait. I'm more excited. Thank you, Jack. You are so welcome. Oh my gosh. That's right. It was today, Robin. That's right. Oh my gosh. Yes. Congrats to Robin on her win. I'm so excited for you. So happy that worked out for you. Oh my God. Thank you for chiming in. Congratulations. I'm so happy. I don't always understand what Melody Wright is saying. Would appreciate your take on her. Cheryl, I'm writing it down right now. We're going to talk about her next Monday. How about that? I love your feedback. I love you guys giving me ideas. Yep, that's me. Thank you. You're so welcome. I'm so happy. And that agent, I really like that agent I referred to you to. She was great. She actually was a personal Robin, just so you know, Alicia was a personal recommendation from a very good friend of mine who used to live in that area because she moved out of there and she told me to call her. So I'm so glad that worked out. Okay, I'm sorry. What was it? Leslie Troy? Where we go? Okay, an inspection at the house is a new build, worth it or not? Yes, get it. Have you watched my videos about new construction? Please, please, please do a home inspection on new construction. Okay, short term, the next 3 months are not what she's predicting, but 6 months to a year from now, I agree with her. All right, I'm going to see what she says. We're going to talk about it, among other things. Hello, Mary Beth. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you joined us. I think in this modern day and age, a lot of folks buying a house don't have access to a wise aunt or friend. Jackie, you built a great support group and community for buyers. It's a gem. Thanks. Thank you. That means so much. Cool. I picked keys up on Wednesday. Let her know. Please do. And congrats again. I'm very excited for you. I would count that as a win. They might have been in a hurry, but most probably dodged a bullet. Dodge a bullet. Inspection doesn't delay the sale for more than a few days. Absolutely get inspections on new construction, every single phase. Yes. Thank you. Please go back. So I've done 2 videos now, never buy new construction, but the one I did in the spring, never buy a home from these builders. Just watching that and the news clips I put in there about people with their nightmare experiences with these big national builders who didn't get home inspections, go watch it. That's enough to make you go spend the $500 to hire a home inspector. It might cost a bit more, but they can catch problems before they become disastrous, especially with blown-in insulation for attic spaces where you can't easily see. Thank you for saying that. Yes. Go back and watch Never Buy from these builders. So there you go. All right, so you guys, so speaking of, so as you saw my friend Robin here, she closed on a home with an agent that I referred to her. If you need an agent referral, please go to this website. You click on that link right there. You're going to fill out a short form, and then you're going to get an email with a questionnaire. I need you to fill that out. It's so important to fill that out because it gives me all the information I need to know to help find you the agent. So please, that is my website. Please go check that out if you need an agent referral, whether you're selling your home or buying a home. It's not just I work for just buyers. I'm helping out my sellers too. All right, you guys, thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you all have a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your families. Forget about all this nonsense that's going on in the market. Enjoy those families and your families and the time, and eat a lot of good food. And thank you so much. I'm so thankful for all of you for this amazing community. And again, thank you all for the super chats. Your generosity means the world to me. I have no idea. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I hope I can keep providing good information to you to help you guys make good decisions. All right. Happy Thanksgiving. See you all next Monday. Have a good one.